I'm ready, Hugh. I am ready for this weekend. I'm ready for the Eagles. I'm ready for the game up against the Giants. You know what I'm ready for, Hugh?
What are you ready for?
I'm ready to watch the backups play because Hugh Douglas, as I sit here today and we get ready for this game on Sunday, all that I have on my mind is the best possible chance for the Eagles to win a game next weekend. Here's what we know. We don't know much, right? Mm-hmm. Because in terms of seeding and in terms of who they're going to play, we really won't know anything until the end of Sunday. Yeah. But here's what we do know.
What's that?
They will not have a bye. The Niners have the bye. So no matter what the format is, the Eagles are going to play a football game next weekend. And the way I view this team right now is they need a break more than they need a victory on Sunday. If I'm Nick Sirianni, but actually forget that. If I'm Howie Roseman and I'm Jeff Lurie, I'm making the phone call to Nick this morning and I'm saying, Nick, we're taking the starters off the field. We're not playing. This is a bye week. Let's get ready to go play Tampa or New Orleans or Atlanta or whatever. Hugh, I would take the bye week this week for the Eagles instead of trying to win the game. And I'll say it this way. I'll concede the East to the Cowboys. Like, I understand the scenario. If Dallas loses and the Eagles win the division. I get that. Dallas is not losing to Washington. I just don't think there's almost any chance that happens. So I think this game on Sunday is basically meaningless. Like, we're just going to play to play. That MetLife turf up there is a terrible field. Aaron Rodgers lasted 3 plays. Okay, and I have a defensive line that's played like 200 more snaps than last year. They're tired, Hugh, and I need to give them a rest on Sunday. Hugh, what do you think?
Oh, that tired dog does not hunt.
No.
And I'll say this to everything that you've given me to digest. I hear what you're saying. But normally when I think of resting, that's a reward. And you're trying to reward a team who has, for 16 weeks, told us, hey, we still haven't played our best football. We haven't played our best football. Every week I've been told that. So now, since you've conceded the fact that you haven't played your best football, you want to reward them at the end of the year and give them a week off?
Yes.
For what?
Because they need it.
You know what they need to do? They need to play better. They need to show this fan base that everything that we saw all year long was a fluke. They need to play better defensively. They need to have a little bit more cohesion on the offensive side of the ball. No, they need to play. They need to play, and they need to play and win. And they need to have a convincing win. Style points, yes. I'm talking about style points. I need to see it. They need to do it. That's the only way you get some time. Well, you're not going to get no time off, but that's what you need to do.
Yeah,
I need to see some style points, man.
I understand that, but there's also a chance, guys, they go out there and lose. Like they could lose, and so here's how I view things with teams, and especially ahead we go to the playoffs. It's risk first, reward. Hugh, you bring up a very fair point on reward, right? They haven't earned it, and there is a reward. I understand there's a reward to them playing well, and there's a reward to us feeling better about them. Maybe they feel better about themselves. There's also a risk. That's probably the worst turf in the NFL. I watched the pass rusher for the Dolphins blow out his Achilles on the field. Aaron Rodgers played 3 plays this year. I mean, guys, there's a scenario on Sunday where they go out there to play, the Cowboys win anyway, and we're like, yeah, go win a game. And then 5 plays into the game, one of the 5 most important Eagles is gone. And we did this for what? Just to feel better? To potentially feel better? No, I'm not playing anybody. 215-592-9494. I'd sit Jalen Hurts. I would sit A.J. Brown. I would sit Devontae Smith. Jason Kelce would watch in street clothes. Lane Johnson would watch. They all would watch because here's how I view this. The best chance the Eagles have to win a game next weekend, the game that actually matters, is by not trying to win a game this weekend. 215-592-9494. And I get what I'm saying. I'm conceding the East. And is there a small chance, small, very small, that the Cowboys blow it on Sunday? And we're looking at the scoreboard where the Dallas Cowboys are losing, and meanwhile Jalen Hurts is in a cap and we're watching Mariota play? There's that chance. I'm taking that risk. But I think it gives the Eagles the best chance. Listen to Greg Cosell on Ross Tucker's podcast talking about the Eagles and how much their defense has been on the field the past, whatever amount of weeks. It's a lot. Here's Greg Cosell.
Since week 11, the Eagles have played more snaps on defense than any team in the National Football League. And I think, that's not looked upon very often, number of snaps a defense plays. But there have been studies done through the years that basically show that there's a certain number of snaps, and it's usually in the 64, 65 range numbers-wise, that beyond that, defenses sort of lose their efficiency. The Eagles are way above that. And you're seeing Jordan Davis have to play a lot of snaps. Jalen Carter went through a stretch playing a lot of snaps, and as talented as he is, he never did that at Georgia. So they're having some issues on the inside in terms of stopping the run, and we know about their pass coverage deficiencies and their pass rush deficiencies. That's been a problem all year.
Well, it has, and the snaps are adding up here.
Excuse.
It's not an excuse, but can't we help them be their best next weekend? Like I agree with you. It's not an excuse, but if they're tired, how do they get rest? By resting.
Work harder. Like I hear what you're saying, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for Greg Cosell. This is not me coming at him in any way, shape, or form. But man, the way that they practice and everything in this day and age in this NFL, that 60 snap thing and having more snaps than anybody else. Miss me with that. Do what you have to do to be prepared. I can't remember the story, but there was back in the day, there was a guy who I guess they said you couldn't run a mile in under 10 minutes or something like that, and he broke that record. It was a story, like he was the first person to do it. I can't remember the story exactly, but it was something like that. And that just goes to show you how phenomenal the body is. If you put your mind to it, you could do whatever you put your mind to. And to sit there and concede the fact on a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, to sit there and let somebody say or even give you the narrative that I was out there tired when you make millions of dollars. You know what your day should consist of as an NFL player, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, especially when you're out there and you only practice for like an hour. Do some extra cardio. Do what you need to do to get ready to play that game on Sunday. That's what you do. Maybe you should, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe, I don't know, go home and get some sleep. Maybe not play Xbox. Maybe get into bed. Get some rest. Go to the vitamin shop. Get you some ginkgo biloba, whatever.
The memory stuff?
No, that's the memory stuff. But you know what I'm talking about. Get you protein shakes. Yeah, get you some protein shakes. Do what you have to do, man. That was never an excuse that I was allowed to use, or anybody that I played with was allowed to use. My first year here in Philadelphia, we knew, and you ask any of my teammates that was there, Ike was there, he'll tell you, we used to go in the meeting, Emmett Thomas used to tell us all the time. He said, hey, you know what this offense is going to do? You're probably going to play 40 minutes in the game. And that it is what it is. And we looked at each other and said, okay. And that was it. Didn't nobody complain about the time we were going to play. Like, you go back and look at the time of possession that the teams played, that we played against us. I guarantee you we didn't win hardly any of those. Our offense was atrocious in 98. So miss me with that you playing more snaps than anybody else. And, yeah, you know what? We probably were tired, but nobody complained. You just went out there and you played, man. You did your job.
So I understand that. And here's what I'll say about your point on that. This may have to be a thing that they fix next offseason.
Yeah,
they fix in training camp.
Now.
Yeah, so but if they're
you're mentally defeated.
If they're tired now, I think the only way to get them rest is rest. And I think we're overrating the idea of they need a win to get back on track. They need to be at their best.
They need to believe that they can beat somebody.
I don't think it matters. I'm going to give you an example. 2012, we had Matt Burke on. Remember when he was on with us at Radio Row at Army Navy? That Ravens team. There's a very interesting kind of comp between
DNA.
That Ravens team
is different than the one that we had.
Well, but there was an interesting thing at the end of the season. So remember they collapsed at the end? He talked about it, and then they figured out in the playoffs. They rested their guys, even though they had lost 3 out of 4 down the stretch. They didn't play Flacco. They didn't play Ray Rice, who was a star back at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't play Anquan Bolden. Week 17, they just gave him a rest because they were in the playoffs.
That was the deer antler year, right? That was the deer antler year?
That was the deer antler year.
Yeah.
You think we need some deer antler spray?
We might as well.
I don't know what we need. Here's what I know. Winning over the Giants, trying to get a win, trying to get back on track isn't worth injury risk, and it's not worth pushing these guys further.